It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Yes, we're still enjoying our Health Tuesday together right here on your Feel Good Breakfast Show. So let's talk about sleep, shall we? It is foundational to our health, yet many South Africans struggle with achieving quality rest at the end of the day. Now, recent studies highlight that consistent sleep patterns may be more crucial than the traditional 8-hour benchmark. And with the rise of wearable sleep trackers as well as increasing awareness of sleep disorders, it's essential to understand how to optimize our sleep in today's fast-paced world. And today on the couch, we're joined by Dr. Dale Ray, the Director of Sleep Science and an Associate Professor at UCT. And she's here to break down the latest research and help us all sleep smarter and not just longer. Doc, thank you for being here again.
Thanks very much for having me.
Sleep is so vital, especially this time of year. I kind of see it as the hibernation period because, of course, the nights are a little bit longer. And I do want to get into conversation about sleep patterns, right? And how it may be more beneficial than strictly aiming for 8 hours a night. So maybe debunk that myth for us just a little bit.
Sure. So we all think about the duration, as you've quite correctly said, 8 hours, but actually quality is really important as well. And so part of quality, it's not just getting unbroken sleep, because that's, I think we relate to that really well, but it's also the regularity and the timing of your sleep. So there's two components to that. So firstly, if you happen to be a night owl, for example, you want to have a late bedtime and allow yourself to wake up as late as possible in the morning. Right. That's the best timing for your own bodies to sleep. Yes. But importantly is that consistency and that regularity and that pattern that you refer to as well. So from night to night, we want to be relatively consistent because your body then can anticipate sleep better. It knows that it's coming and it generally ends up with better quality sleep. So we refer to sort of the regularity of sleep, looking at something like in any given week, if you look at your earliest and latest bedtime or wake-up time, try and have a variation in the sort of realm of about 1.5, maybe 2 hours difference. So a little bit of flexibility. Right. Don't be a metronome. I think that's unhealthy and obsessive. Yeah. But try to be relatively consistent from that perspective.
I love that you mentioned quality at the end of the day is more important, because you could have 10 hours of bad sleep and it might not be as good as that solid 5 hours of great sleep. But here's an interesting one. A nationwide survey indicated that while Gauteng residents average 6 hours and 34 minutes of sleep, the quality, like we said, is a little bit questionable. But that in and of itself doesn't even sound like enough. So can you emphasize the quality a little bit more, especially when it comes to our daily functioning? How does it impact that?
Sure. So we don't want to waste our time while we're asleep. When we're in bed, we'd like to be out for the count, ideally, for sure. But many of us have different stresses, or maybe it's something that we've done in the daytime. We've maybe overdone it on the caffeine side of things. Maybe we haven't had enough exercise. Maybe it's our nutrition. There's all sorts of things that can interfere with the quality of your sleep. And so the quality really refers to, once you're asleep, how solidly do you sleep? Do you get sufficient deep sleep? Do you get sufficient REM or rapid eye movement sleep? Right. These things are all the important components of quality, as well as that consistency or that routine. And it's true, quality is very important. You can have 8 or 10 hours of broken sleep, which is not going to feel particularly restorative. But I would also say that just thinking about quality, it's not reason to go rogue on that sleep, on that duration side of things. Right. So aiming, saying, oh, my quality of my 5 hours of sleep is fantastic quality, that's great. But you're still short-selling yourself on the sleep that you actually need.
So when it comes to the tools, right, I know that on my phone I've got these apps that record my sleeping. You can do the watch as well. Records your snoring, it records all of that. Are these things actually effective and helpful at the end of the day?
So a little bit. I'm going to temper this quite carefully. I'm excited to see where the tech is going. It's getting more and more sophisticated. It can measure more and more things, and very soon it's going to be really exciting, I think. But it's still a little bit off. I mean, I know that with my watch, I look at it and I don't believe it most mornings. So I'm like, no, my friend, there's no way. I know what I did. Right. Yeah. So while it's useful to dip in and out of measurement, every now and then have a look and see how consistent am I being. So using a watch for patterns is a lovely idea. Right. Using a watch to see, did I get sufficient deep sleep or sufficient REM sleep? The capability of them to make those predictions is just not accurate enough now. And in fact, what it can do is create an obsession with trying to perfect your sleep, which can actually often create a problem that was never there before. Sure. And that's a condition called orthosomnia. So from that perspective, we like to just take it a little bit easy on the measurement, rather listen to your own body. How do you feel when you wake up? Are you full of beans, full of pep? Can you go with loads of energy throughout the daytime, those are your best markers as to what is the quality of your sleep.
I love that. I mean, before the watches, we only had that, so why not rely on it entirely? I know you mentioned diseases. I also wanted to chat about sleep apnea. Now, this is also a term I've heard around. What exactly is that, and who does it impact?
So sleep apnea is a formal sleep disorder. It's the second most common sleep disorder.
Sure.
And it can impact what the people at most at risk are slightly older. So once we go over the age of sort of 50 or so, males are at higher risk than females, and those who carry a lot of weight. So generally in the high obesity category. But there are other sort of risk factors. But generally it's a cessation or pausing of your breathing while you sleep. So you keep having these extended pauses in your breathing, which means that you don't get sufficient oxygen to your brain and to the rest of your body. And that creates a huge amount of stress, specifically on your cardiovascular system. And so one of the key concerns around obstructive sleep apnea, because in 80% of people who have it, it's actually undiagnosed. They will often first notice a little bit of a creep in their blood pressure, and then suddenly they develop hypertension, and then their risk for cardiovascular disease is huge.
Oh my goodness. Well, I love the fact that you've also brought solution at the end of the day and reminded us, staff, that it is about the quality of sleep that we do get at the end of the day. But thank you so much for sharing the recent research, and we hope to have you back soon, because this conversation literally impacts each and every one of us. And you know that sleep isn't just a pillar of health, it's the foundation. So as we've learned today, getting good rest, quality rest, is more than just how many hours you actually clock at the end of the day. It's about quality, consistency, and definitely tuning into your body and listening to what he or she is saying. And of course, a huge thank you to Dr. Del Rey for unpacking the science of sleep with us. Now, to learn more or to get personalized support, please go ahead and visit sleepscience.co.za, or you can follow them on socials. It's at sleepscience_ on social media, and they will sort you out exactly where you need to be.